Today, we're going to be taking a look at how you can apply pivots to tables within SQL. Now, what a pivot essentially is you're going to be transforming your rows into specific columns so that way you can visualize your table in a completely different manner. Now, before we do end up coding, I just want to give you a warning that this is going to be a bit more complicated of an episode. You will have to know how subqueries work, and the code can be a little bit complex, but I promise I'll make it easy for you guys. Anyways, let's start coding in this tutorial. So the data that I'm going to be using in this video is from store orders. This is a view that I created, but if you're familiar with views, they do act like tables. Now you have order number, store name, product name, quantity, and also order date over here. But I want to transform this data. What I would like to have specifically is on the left, the different product names, and then the store that purchased the product name. So I would have like over here on the left side of the table, Bowman Chrome, and then I would have the store names like Card Collector 2, Santiago Sports, Up North Collectors, and show how much quantity each of those stores have purchased. So the way I can transform this specifically is through a pivot. So what I want to do first on this side of things is grab the data that I will need. So the data that I'm going to specifically need on here is the store name. So store name. I also need to have the product name. So product name. And then the other thing I need to grab is the quantity. I don't care about the order date or the order num right now, just those three. So if we run this again, you can see we only have those three columns, which is good. I'm gonna just tab this over here. So now that we have those three columns, we need to build out a subquery. So all I'm gonna do is select star from, and I'm just gonna put all of this in the inside, right? And then we have to name this. So I'm just gonna name this as store order info. And just tab this over so it's a little bit cleaner, right? Let's tab that over here too. And if we run this, data is exactly the same. So perfect, right? And this is where the fun part starts. So we're going to start building out our pivot. So all you have to do for your pivot is type pivot in all capital like this, open this up, and we're going to start writing our pivot statement. So what we want to like to show first under here is the quantity for each product that is purchased. So we need to put the sum of quantity, kind of like this, and we're going to be showing each of the different card stores under these columns. So right now, you can see how they have store names and they're all down over here. I have 5 in general, but we need to specifically write these out so that each store name is now a column over here. So we're going to put for store name like this, and we're going to put in, and then we need to write out these store names. So we're going to write Card Collector 2. We're going to write Santiago Sports. Then we're going to write Up North Collectors. Then we have AA Mint Cards and Cards and Coffee. So we'll just grab those last two. And just like that. And then we're going to close that one out. So we also need to write a name on this. So what I'm going to put for this one as, and then we're just going to say card pivot. So how this works is we have a sum quantity, and the reason why we have that is a store could purchase the same product multiple times, and we want to see how much they purchase. Then for store name, we want to have store name as each of these columns over here, and then underneath is going to show that quantity. So now if we run this, you can see we have Bowman Chrome over here, Topps Chrome, Topps Dynasty, Topps Series 1, Topps Sterling, Transcendent, Triple Threads, and then we have the 5 different card stores over here. So like Card Collector 2 purchased 6 of Bowman Chrome, 14 of Dynasty, 2 of Series 1, and 1 of Transcendent. And just to run a normal select star so you guys can compare the two. So we're just going to grab select star from over here, and we'll run both. I forgot the from statement. We'll just put that over here. So the table above is what we had originally. So the order number, the store name, product name, quantity, and order date. So You can see card collector 2 purchased 6 of Bowman Chrome. Now we have 6 over here. Card collector 2 purchased 7 of Dynasty. If you go to Topps Dynasty, which is right here, we have 14. Well, there's another order on it. So if we go to another card collector 2, you can see he bought 3 of Dynasty. So that makes it 10 now. And then you see over here, 4. So now we show just 14 as total purchase, which is so much easier than just going through this whole table over here and then summing the quantity and then figuring it out. So like if we really wanted to build this out on this original query over here, what we would want to pretty much do is have here store name. Then we would want to have product name, this, and then we're going to sum quantity. And then what you're going to have to do is group by both of those as well. So store name and also product name. So watch how that works. Now you have this representation. So you have like A mint cards bought 8 of Bowman Chrome. Then you have card collector 2 bought 6 of Bowman Chrome. And you can go down over here, card collector 2, Topps Dynasty 14. Or you could have this visual representation like this. And if I just run both, you can see the differences on those. If I was going to do a group by with this first one and find those sums, or this second one over here, I kind of like the format of this way nicer. It's much cleaner to see. Now I will show you also how to get rid of these nulls on this side of things and how you can also clean up the data a little bit better. So let me just drop this down over here and select this pivot again. So essentially what I could do first off, if I didn't want to show all these store names, I could just delete one at the very end. So let's say, for example, I want to have cards and coffee, just delete that there. And now you can see that this pivot has decreased by another column. And also this determines the order. So you can see card collector 2 is 1 over here, Santiago 2, up north 3, A mint 4. And then if I run this again, cards and coffee is 5. So your order down here determines how it shows up in this pivot table. But I wanted to show you guys how you can solve for these nulls over here if it's a little bit annoying for you. And that comes from our select statement over here. So this select star is grabbing the product name and then grabbing each of these specific card shops and their quantity over here. But some of this quantity is going to be null or also 0 because they just don't show up in the store orders. So how you could fix this is we would put over here product name, and then you would have to list each of these stores. So we have to grab all this over here, throw that on this side of things, and then just put is null. And then I always just put 0 like that. And we can do the same thing for all of these or just 1 or 2. I'll just show you, for example, if we only just did card collector 2, you can see now zeros are represented. Again, if I want to do this for Santiago Sports, same thing, is null. And we'll copy that over here. Run this now. And all of those are 0 on that side of things. And because I put that is null statement, we do need to have the specific name at the very end. Otherwise, it's going to show up as a null column. And then you can see I just throw that over there. You can either put the name or you can put as name. Both will work. So if you see this now, right, works properly on that side of things. So one last time, specifically how this works, at least the syntax on this side of things. So I'm going to comment that out. So what we have essentially is a subquery over here. We're just grabbing a select star, but on the inside over here, we're selecting the store name, the product name, and also the quantity from our store orders. And then we have that as a subquery. It's called store order info. Then we have a pivot on the inside. So whatever you want to show underneath for these stores, you have that over here. And you can change your aggregate functions if you wanted to. You could also technically put a count. So let's say we want to see how many times someone purchased something, right? You can just put count over there. And 3 for Dynasty, as we showed a little bit earlier, and 1 for Series 1. I like sum a little bit better, but there's 2 different representations of data. And if you're reporting on this, you could show the sum, how much quantity was purchased, and also the count of how many purchases. Either way, so this first part of the pivot is going to show the data that is under here. Your second part, right, for store name, these are going to be the specific columns, and then you have to define each of these columns, which if we go back over here for that original select star, From store orders, those are all, and I didn't grab it all, those are all the store names. So that's what I'm pivoting across on the top for each of these different columns, but that's just all in that store name on that side of things. So going again, you can see I defined card collector 2, Santiago up north, AA Mint cards, and cards and coffee. It's kind of manual, but you do have to specify all those different columns so that way they show up on that side of things. And then put an alias over here as card pivot. So I put aliases on the subquery, store order info, and then also for card pivot. Hope you're able to stay with me in this tutorial. If you were, make sure to subscribe as it does help out the YouTube channel. By the way, I have a video on unpivots right over here, and that's where we're going to be transforming columns into rows. Highly suggest you watch that.